For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
We are currently in a precarious state. We don't know what will happen within the next few hours. We can only hope for the best. As we say hello and welcome to another edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and on our NewsSpin Facebook page. My name is Timothy Poleon. We will be keeping each other company until 2 o'clock this afternoon. I'll be taking your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026, 716-2026, and I will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. It is all about St. Lucia being on a hurricane watch right now. It is being issued, and also a tropical storm warning is also in effect. A number of Caribbean islands are expected to be impacted in the Eastern Caribbean in particular. Guadeloupe, the likes of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Dominica, and St. Lucia as well. Right now, we are at a period where we are preparing for what some people are saying is the inevitable, the fury and the effects of this storm. First major storm of this 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. Those of you who have not made any kind of preparation, it is still not too late for you to do what is required. And we've been hearing from the National Emergency Management Organization, among other stakeholder organizations on the island. It's a case of ensuring that we clear our drains and we do whatever that is possible around our homes and also inside of our homes, and in the effect that we have to leave our household and head on to friends or relatives or to a shelter, we have to prepare for such eventualities. I'm told that there are meetings of NEMAC which took place earlier today. I've been trying to get into contact with the head of NEMO. I'll continue to do so. Hopefully you'll be able to speak with Miss Maria Meda on what would have transpired earlier on today as far as the preparation from the perspective of the state, because there is obviously a responsibility for the authorities, likewise a responsibility for the citizenry. We are just about 24 minutes away from businesses being closed, including government offices, and then for people to head on to their homes. We did not have any classes early on today. Cape examination got underway. The island's 2 airports were closed at about 10:30 this morning. Some of the decisions that were taken by the authorities as we continue to prepare for this weather system, and hoping that somehow we can minimize the impact or mitigate the impact of that storm. And what is very scary to a large extent is that we are just a few days into the hurricane season. So we still have to go through several months into November the 30th, and then maybe we can collectively breathe a sigh of relief. But in the meantime, we certainly have to be in a state of preparedness. One can only imagine the number of people who would be at the various supermarkets right now shopping, although we should not be doing that right now. That is very much last minute. But in some instances, maybe you just got your hands on a few dollars earlier today, and that is why you are shopping for those precious items. As far as the Met Office is concerned, they have been issuing advisory after advisory, and the latest weather report at noon, they're suggesting that small craft operators should remain in port. As a matter of fact, they are not suggesting, but advising small craft operators to remain in port and secure property. Residents and sea bathers are also advised to stay away from beaches and coastal areas due to stormy conditions generated by Tropical Storm Brett. Just over the last few months, we have recorded several drownings in St. Lucia, and we hope that sea bathers and people who are curious will not venture from their homes and head to beaches and coastal areas on the island. This certainly is not a time to engage in sightseeing ventures. It can prove fatal. Also, from the Met Office Tropical Weather Outlook, Hurricane Watch is in effect for St. Lucia, and a tropical storm warning remains in effect for St. Lucia as well. That is the information coming from the Met Office, and let me see if I have any more information to share with you from the Met Office. Residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides are urged to exercise extreme caution to protect and safeguard lives and property. Once again, residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides are urged to exercise extreme caution to protect and safeguard lives and property. So you have been warned. Let us not put ourselves in a situation where we are vulnerable, and then we'll be calling on the authorities or friends and relatives to rescue us. Information is power, and there's not been any shortage of information from the Met Office, and also guidelines coming from the National Emergency Management Organization. And the Prime Minister also addressed the nation last evening, and he took the opportunity during that 3-minute address to make an assurance, or to give an assurance.
I want to assure you that all government ministries and agencies with responsibility for disaster management and community disaster management committees across the island have been activated in preparation should the storm affect our country. I want to assure you that all government ministries and agencies with responsibility for disaster management and community disaster management committees across the island have been activated in preparation should the storm affect our country.
So we'll hold the Prime Minister to that. Prime Minister Philippe J. addressing the nation last evening. What we'll do right now is to open the lines to take your calls at 452-2979. That's 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. That's 716-2026. You might want to share some information with us about your level of preparation, what is happening in your community, particularly folks in certain low-lying areas, coastal areas. What are you seeing right now in anticipation of the passage of this storm later this evening? Certainly over the last couple of years, literally last 2 to 3 years, we have faced our challenges, not only in St. Lucia, but indeed other parts of the world as far as COVID is concerned. In the case of St. Lucia, the local front, we have had to cope, yes, the after effects of COVID-19 and all the lockdowns that we experienced. Also, we have had a serious crime problem on the island. And even before COVID-19, we have had weather systems impacting St. Lucia. So hardly anyone who is alive right now can claim to be ignorant as far as experiencing the effects of weather systems and the toll that they have taken on the island, either through the loss of lives or through the destruction to infrastructure. And increasingly, the talk about climate change, mitigation, and us having every now and then to always have to repair certain things, infrastructure in our country. And we have to very often ask ourselves the question of when will we ever get some kind of reprieve, and whether there's need, as is the charges being led by the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, for the international community, the IMF and the World Bank and other agencies to take our predicament seriously into consideration, particularly when we have to borrow finances from those institutions and when the clarion call will be made for financial support so that we can protect ourselves against such crisis situations, hurricanes, storms, and we can only hope that there will not be any serious damage on a scale that would retard whatever growth that would have recorded over the last several years, not only in St. Lucia, but indeed in other parts of the Caribbean. The repair job very often is very expensive, damage to infrastructure, whether it has to do with our utility companies, whether it has to do with our roads, houses, agricultural sector being severely impacted, and the rebuilding process sometimes can be a very long and tedious one. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Also coming up, you'll be hearing from the president of the Police Welfare Association. Many of you would have been privy to the circulation of a letter that was written a few months ago to Prime Minister Philippe J. Pierre and also copied to the Home Affairs Minister and copied as well to the Public Service Commission. Concerns about sexual harassment within the ranks of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And the PWA president convened a press conference and will be hearing the opening statement, at least 4 minutes of that press conference. But first, I think we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, Tim, I just called to just ask every St. Lucian to be vigilant, try and stay safe, do the necessaries, and try to preserve their life and property. Yeah. Tim, what I wanted to really talk about was last night Newsmaker Live program with Mr. Jim Joseph. Mm-hmm. I realized you have been asking Mr. Joseph simple, straight-up questions. Since he had resolved the situation at the registry department, was his service source to try and see what he can do with what is going on at the passport office? And he kept moving around, sidelining. With a simple yes or no answer. Where your expertise, did they try and get any, to help with the situation? No, I was not approached. Simple. Yes, I was approached. No, I was not approached. But I wanted to ask him a question, but I couldn't get the line. Just to ask him a simple question, whether IA could influence an election result. That was a simple question I just wanted to ask him.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not an expert when it comes to artificial intelligence, but it definitely can, with the spread of misinformation and disinformation. I'm sure people are more technically qualified and gifted will tell you as well that could have memes. Also, you could have images, purportedly that of a particular politician being portrayed in a negative light, or he could be made to appear to make a particular statement, using derogatory language and saying things that are inflammatory and so on, and it might not be him at all. So we have to look at all those issues. As I said before, disinformation and misinformation, all that can be used or utilized to determine the outcome of a general election. And many people in St. Lucia, as far as the technology is concerned, they are not that literate. You can even consider them to be Luddites, people who just do not want to get in tune with the reality and the technology. And they just resign themselves to everything they see on social media. They say that it is true. Everything they hear, a comment on the radio, they say that they can give credence to it. It is factual. They do not know how to differentiate between credible information and also commentary. So we have a lot of work to do, and AI definitely can be put to good use. Likewise, it can be used by bad actors to do bad things. 452-2979, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Call us right now. Tell us about your level of preparedness, or if you're part of a disaster preparedness committee, inform us of your level of preparedness, because unfortunately, many of the so-called disaster preparedness committees in St. Lucia themselves are not in a state of preparedness. I think there might be one exception, though. I saw a video on Facebook, I think it was yesterday, where folks from the Castries Central Disaster Preparedness Committee were out, I think, close to one of the CDC buildings, and they're already removing some homeless people from the streets, and also they were being fed as well. So we hope that is the same with the other disaster preparedness committees around St. Lucia, looking after the needy, looking after the homeless, looking after the poor. Let us hear from the head of NEMO, the National Emergency Management Organization, Maria Maida. And she made reference to when you should be going to the shelter. And I found this very strange. You have over, I think, 200 shelters in St. Lucia. And one would have anticipated that, for example, the authorities would have ensured that people, long before disaster strikes, depending on the condition of some individuals' homes, would be able to open those shelters so that people can rescue themselves, family, and if possible, I don't know the what it entails in terms of the protocol, whether people can bring their pets into the shelter. But this is what she said, and it was featured last evening in the DBS News World report by Jason Darius.
Our shelters are open mainly after post-disaster, because one of the reasons is that when we open before, it means that it's a cost to the state. We open before, and sometimes you don't get anybody coming to the shelters. We have almost 260 shelters. You cannot open all of them. So they are open as needed post the disaster. If you have looked at your risk and you have recognized that your home is prone to disasters, whether it be a landslide or flooding, and you have no family and friends that you can go to, then you contact your local district disaster committee, and they, along with the shelter managers for whichever shelter to be open, will make the arrangements to shelter persons.
The head of the National Emergency Management Organization, Maria Meda, in the past, the experience has not been a good one as far as individuals wanting to access various shelters. Sometimes you want to get into contact with the coordinator of those shelters, can't get the key to get into the shelters, and it's just confusion. So we hope that the authorities would because the authorities, they are famous for calling on citizens to put themselves in a state of readiness, to prepare for a storm, prepare for a hurricane. But very often they themselves have not done the necessary preparations that would ensure that when the disaster strikes, that they would be able to meet the needs of people who have been displaced or people who have been affected somewhat. Take, for example, and you have been calling on this broadcast and complaining about the failure of the Ministry of Infrastructure to undertake the necessary clearing of drains and rivers in various parts of St. Lucia. This is NewsSpin. Good afternoon. You are on the air.
Tim, did I hear right? Did I hear that gentle lady saying that the shelters cost government money?
Yes.
Well,
it ought to.
Eh?
It ought to cost money.
I mean, what is she talking about? So you're going to have a shelter that doesn't cost the taxpayers money?
It has to cost the taxpayers money.
Well, that's right.
And when thank you so much for raising that particular point. When she made that point, and I was thinking earlier today, and I was saying, maybe that's why we don't have a fire station in Canaries, and we don't have a fire station in Ansteray and certain parts of St. Lucia where it is required, because the cost is what is being seen as the inhibiting factor. And why invest? Why invest in this when, for example, and she's saying that it sounds so strange. You might not have the storm passing and affecting people.
Tim, I really am very, very. I better start learning English all over again, because I seem to be totally out of touch with the realities of this place. A government representative, I take it she's a government representative of some sort.
She is the head of NEMO.
Head of NEMO?
Yeah. And let me just interrupt. Somebody just sent me a message there. Tim, Miss Mina made a statement there about a cost to the state with about, 5 question marks. Go ahead.
All right. Well, that would disturb. Now, if that's disturbing your callers, it certainly hit me between the eyes. What are we to assume? What's going on? Because I don't want to make that a personal thing. That's not what I want to do, because she alone is not blamable. Who the hell knows? Because I've talked about that before. All the various institutions, from the courts to family court, I have consistently called them shams. They are that in name only, Jim. So I'm not about to be jumping on the ladies because I don't know half what the real story might be.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she's making that policy all by herself, and perhaps she's putting it as succinctly as she can to say that it costs money. Somebody must have given us some figures, but we spend money on all kinds of jams and pets and whatever, but evidently we don't want to spend money on lives, saving lives, and I can take that all the way through to the homicide, to the poor policing, to the undermanned police force, under-equipped, and I can spread that all over the place, that wherever life is involved, there is a dearth of attention, but I just don't get it. That's number one. Number two, does that make any sense, or is just me? Maybe it's me on old age, I don't understand what she means by the places are accessible. only after the storm. I would have thought those places are supposed to be accessible
before.
Safe houses. Perchance the people's houses, aren't strong enough, or even when the houses are strong enough.
But what if, Rick, the roads are impassable after the storm? How do you get to those shelters?
Well, I would assume I'll go far, maybe lean over and see maybe all the shelters. That we have numerous shelters all over the country, I suppose. But I'm saying, what I don't get the logic behind not affording safer quarters to people, because the shelters are supposed to shelter you from the storm, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you have a little, like for example, one of those houses for the poorest of the poorest, the architecture. I doubt the architecture for the poorest of the poorest. You know what I'm saying?
The huts.
Well, whatever they're called for the poorest of the poorest, architecture. So I doubt very much poorest for the poorest architecture can withstand any serious wind. So are those people supposed to stay in there in those poorest until it's flattened?
Based on what you're saying, yes. If you cannot get to a friend or relative, you might as well weather the storm.
It seems to me there might be elderly people, handicapped people in reasonable accommodations who would be a lot safer in those shelters because of how they built the schools, the concrete buildings, etc. And with attendance on, I suppose, all that they would be safer in a shelter, no?
Yes.
So I don't get the after the storm, only after the storm. And also, the matter of who has the key and who in charge. How common knowledge is that, Tim? Or do you know, by the way, in Castries...
That's normally not well organized, I know in Castries Central...
let me ask you the direct question, though.
Yeah.
Because you're a Bogart man.
In Castries Central...
are you aware of who are the key holders of
no.
in Castries?
I'm not aware.
Do you think the average St. Lucian, especially the more handicapped St. Lucian, would know who are the key holders of those shelters?
Hardly.
And that is what I figured that Joachim Henry would have touched on yesterday, rather than the preaching about God and all that kind of stuff. I would have thought not only because they know that it's a hurricane season. You would have thought appropriate personnel would be on the station, would be publicly stating of those personnel who are in charge of those centers, how you expect particular numbers, if any, who you can get the keys from, who can come.
But if you go online, they've been advertising, if you go online, there are various numbers to the various shelters in the communities. Big pardon?
I think that only came on yesterday, no?
No, it has been on. Those numbers have been in circulation online for years now, a few years.
But here's the point. Whatever is circulated online does not stop the duty of government to have personnel on TV talking, calling your show, appearing on your show to discuss, because we've had it before.
Quite apart from on my show, Rick, what about NTN? What is happening to NTN right now as we speak?
It seems that government personnel are satisfied simply to put something on the internet. What about those people who cannot read?
Yeah.
What about those people who read but don't understand what they've read? I mean, those things are handy. The internet and cell phones and whatnot are all handy. Electricity problems notwithstanding and so on. But individual people should be available, telling St. Lucians what to do in particular circumstances. So some personal interest and answer some questions, Tim. It seems that we are now running government by internet, and only for the literate or those who consider themselves literate. Now, Tim, my final. How comfortable were you last night with your hosting of that guest you had last night?
Very uncomfortable. It was embarrassing. I mean, I just felt short of. I just felt short of saying, let's just end the show, and that's it. And that's it.
Tim, I am almost certain in your circumstances, I would have said to the guy, and that's what I would have said, so I'm quoting quote unquote, look man, fuck off. I couldn't believe how rude this guy was, how pretentious he was.
Next time you could say F off, man. Next time say F off.
That's your duty to tell me that.
That's
okay?
NewsSpin. That's not talk.
That's your duty. If you're late by half an hour. But that's your duty to tell me that, so you're right. Okay. Okay. When I do, you know your callers and your chat room say, what happened, Rick? We can talk in straight anymore. Anyway, Tim, I mean, the guy was talking to you as if nobody has heard of AI. You know, for the last several months, I've been talking to certain friends of mine here, asking why the government had not been addressing the subject of AI, not in terms of how it is, but what is going on, because you would assume they read it. You would assume they can import people to come out here and talk about it, because that thing has been there for the longest while. I could not believe when the guy, if I'm wrong, correct me, when he said, in effect, that AI will not have any impact on the workforce, the people with jobs. It won't have, because it'll be simply a matter, and you get the public service. It'll be simply a matter of them getting off their desks and leaving their papers, and instead going to help the farmers. Am I right?
And yes, and he spoke about retraining, as if everyone can be retrained.
The point is you're going to lose your job. Now, even if there was no AI and you lost your job, you have to go out there and look for another job, you know. You have to do whatever you have to do to get another job, normally, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would have to.
But we are talking about the impact of AI, and he was reluctant to state that AI, Tim, you know, there's a lot written on this already, you know. A lot of fears and good points expressed by people like Elon Musk, you know, who is as close to AI as you and me, you know each other. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of information out there about the fears, even the figures in terms of how many jobs have been lost, mass jobs, places like Walmart and so on, the places that normally hire loads of people. Robots. One robot is taking care of a whole load of people.
On seaports as well. Seaports as well. Robots also are responsible for the loading of vessels. Mm-hmm.
And this guy said he had been working with the government a long while.
11 years.
In this 11 years, what have you seen in St. Lucia that would be indicative of artificial intelligence or new thinking or whatever in the operations of government services? What?
Nothing at all.
Nada. And I thought you were so sweet, goody Tim. That guy would, before putting him on, I would have interviewed him anyway. But it was what to me seemed. I don't mind confidence if you have a lot of confidence and know what you're talking about and be strong in what you're talking about. And sometimes even I have been very intolerant of stupid questions that people just call for the sake of. I'm not tolerant of that either. Taking all those into consideration while I'm talking about this guy. And I know the way that guy treated you, and it was a cover-up for his obvious inability to answer the questions one or two of your callers were pushing at him. He was unable and insulting the national intelligence by telling them it won't matter that it won't in the first place cause unemployment, but that even if those who lost their jobs will simply move from that to go to the farmers and go and do something else and do something else. You know?
He made the adjustment look and sound too easy, considering our workforce, considering what has been said by previous prime ministers in terms of training for our people and the inability of some people to make the necessary adjustment.
Tim, if you lose a job in St. Lucia, you're almost dead.
Yeah.
If you have a job and lose in St. Lucia, you're almost dead. So it's because there are no jobs. So what is he talking about when you lose a job? Oh, no problem. First, he's reluctant to say that AI will cost jobs. It has cost jobs in England all over the world already. But he's saying it where people are trained and everything overseas more than we are at their facilities. But the biggest employer, I think, is the public service.
Yeah, government, yeah.
And he's saying it won't affect the public service at all, considering this is all paperwork mainly at the public service. The man is saying, oh, it won't cost any job, it won't cost any employment. And if it does, they can simply move to the farm or somewhere else. You are a wonderful, sweetie guy, James. Thank you very much.
All right, Rick, thank you so much. Still to come on the broadcast, we'll be hearing from the head of the Police Welfare Association, referencing claims or allegations of sexual harassment within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and the failure of the authorities to investigate those allegations. You are watching the broadcast on YouTube. You are also on the NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as on Power 97.9 FM.
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland. That's when we reach the waterfront. Doing whatever the hell we want. Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
On July 8th, 2023, we're turning the Beauséjour Promenade into a one-stop shop for your new car. Car dealers, insurance experts, even mechanics, all under one roof, all ready to help you find your perfect ride. And only at First National Bank can you get vehicle loans as low as 4.75%. In honor of our 85th anniversary, the first 85 customers won't have to pay until August 2023. Join us at the Beauséjour Promenade on July 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and make it a hangout spot with music and eats and drinks on sale. Start your journey with First National Bank. First National Bank, here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbouté at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fayday Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu, to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fayday Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
To protect appliances from lightning, rain, and floodwater damage, unplug them, then turn off the main switch. Lightning can produce electrical surges, which can damage equipment. Protect your electronics from water damage as well. Make sure you have flashlights, battery-powered radios, and extra fresh batteries available. Be smart, stay safe. It's the power of knowing with Lucy. So fast pay, a new and easy way to pay. So fast pay, so fast pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
So fast pay. 2 minutes and you're on your way. So fast pay. So fast pay.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Hello, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I want to agree with Rick as regards to your guest last night and the fact that, you know, people were asking specific questions, but he seemed to have, I don't know, like he had a certain message that he wanted to give and he wasn't deviating. You see, the thing is, Tim, with everything in life, you have to question, you know. And when you see people who coming out, you know, from these organizations and from these things and saying, hey, we need to, you know, we need to slow down, we need to regulate this, we need to, you know, have some kind of talk about this, because the way it's going to change society. You're talking about, and last night, I don't know if you remember, when I spoke to the guy about Neuralink, which is what Elon Musk is trying to do.
Yes, I remember.
Right? So basically, they have permission from the government to carry out experiments on humans. What type of human being are you going to become when you, you know, when you merge yourself with a machine? Do we know the consequences of these things, Tim? Before we just go, because I mean, it's really coming. And one point he was right on was the fact that this thing is going to come, right? And I don't know if he was expecting everybody to come on board AI and everybody to just jump into this. I mean, look at how we treated COVID. A lot of people were skeptical. A lot of people had questions. And by right, everybody needs to. But when you, the way he was, you know, like trying to, I don't know, downplay, you know, what Rick was talking about, the fact that jobs are going to be lost, you know. The same way when we had the third industrial revolution and we had machinery, wasn't jobs lost? Didn't that have an impact on the economy at the time? So
automatically, some people will be left behind. Okay, some people will not be able to make the adjustment.
Exactly, but even without thinking about the people that are not going to be making the adjustments, just thinking about the fact that even popular magazines, people come out and say, look, at the end of the day, you know, millions of jobs is going to be lost. Now we're looking at millions of jobs lost on top of a bad situation. You understand? So we don't want something to come and, what they say, break break the camel's back. So we don't want AI to come and, take over. And not only that, again, scientists, those who have the ability to use this thing for nefarious reasons, they're talking about hacking the human body. Why would you want to hack the human body to reverse engineer it? Are you planning on making a new version of human beings? Is that the ultimate agenda of these international bodies? So, Tim, again, a lot of questions, and I don't think this guy was ready to answer these types of questions. He had a certain agenda and a point he wanted to bring forth, which he did, but again, still a lot of unanswered questions.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Afternoon.
Yeah, my difficulty with Mr. Jim Joseph was that he was afraid of being challenged on the whole AI subject matter, and he had already taken a position, and he did not want for anyone to come up with a contrary view on it. Now, there's nothing wrong with coming up with a contrary view. You are the expert. You should be the one who should be clarifying various issues from your perspective and basically from your knowledge. You cannot expect, particularly in this modern era, that everyone will agree with you on whatever that you say. Even so-called ordinary folks, they have a right to challenge the so-called experts. And no one right now has any kind of hold, a stranglehold on information. People have the internet, you have YouTube, you have social media. It's just a case of, if you consider yourself to be very much au fait with whatever subject matter that you're discussing, defend your position and expect that you will be challenged in the process. We have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Put me on to the program, please.
This is NewsSpin, and you are on the air.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
In reference to that artificial intelligence, the mayor with artificial, it shows non-real, non-genuine, non-quality. Are you with me, sir?
I'm listening to you.
And as a result, when that reduces human employment, there's going to be a backlash against the summit, the icons, the creators of such events who want to monopolize all the income for themselves. They will have a poor labor force, which is the world population, and there'll be a backlash on the earnings. So that is why it is artificial intelligence. It's not real intelligence. Because real intelligence would enrich your environment in order to enrich yourself in return. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for calling. By the way, the definition of AI is the science and engineering of making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computer programs. So I don't think there's anything artificial about this. All right, we have a few photographs somebody sent me there, and we'll put it on the screen in just a moment. Those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube, it's some kind of machinery that's they're clearing the Corinth River. So the person said, better late than never. Corinth River happening right now. And I am assuming it's being done and financed by the state. So why is this happening at the 11th hour? The clearing of debris, the clearing of silt from the Corinth River, according to photographs I've just received, happening right now. That is at the 11th hour, and I'm assuming again that it is being undertaken by the state. So if you see the necessity to do it right now, obviously you are blindsided by something a few weeks, a few months ago, and you did not see the importance of carrying out that work, the clearing of the Corinth River earlier. But as the person says, better late than never. And I'm just wondering, and maybe you can assist me with that, other parts of the island where rivers and drains are blocked, and it is the responsibility of the state, and the state would have failed in clearing those areas of debris and silt. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026. That's 716-2026. Another person says there, okay, I have a contribution to read, so let me go through it. I'm guessing they are talking about food, water, and other items that would be required to serve persons at the shelters. Cost of these items would be too much for the state. Will they be expecting thousands at any one shelter? Tim, but so many have already lost jobs. That refer now to artificial intelligence. But so many have already lost jobs in the U.S. Are they not doing their research? People have been losing jobs at the turn of each industrial revolution. We are now in the fourth industrial revolution. All right, let me see if I have any more of your messages while we await your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Hi, Tim. For sure, I've always thought, what kind of policy is that on shelters? And is that also a consequence when certain people are in positions and do not have the requisite training to perform competently? And let's see there. Okay, that's it. As far as your messages, we are awaiting your calls. And remember, we do not limit our calls to folks who just from the various communities listening to the broadcast and the news spinners, but we are also inviting you, if you are a stakeholder and you have critical information to share with our wide audience, you can take the opportunity to do so right now, particularly as we are bracing for the effects of that system. Brett. Okay, let me turn my attention to the chat room to see if we have any of your comments that I should be going through. Somebody says, during the time the focus was on jazz, rivers should have been desilted and drains cleaned. And again, it begs the question, why do you have governments? Why do you elect people into office? It's to do those kind of things. You do not leave that to ordinary folks. Ordinary folks is not the responsibility for them to go out there and clean those public drains and rivers. Somebody says, I'm hoping nothing serious happens, but again, we never know. I guess so, friend. Victoria Hospital doors will be open. And let's see if we have some more. I'm praying St. Lucia does not get heavily impacted. Too much hardship already because a lot of people will be neglected. Some more of your discussions in the chat room. Please bear with me while I try to go through as many as possible. The storm may go there, but like God said to Satan, but don't take job, life, storm. Go, but don't touch the patient's life. Referring there to the possible impact of any storm on our health institutions, particularly the St. Jude Hospital. Let's see if we have some more. I could go through some of your comments in the chat room. So you have to be extremely careful what you read, because some of the comments there really should not be shared with the wider audience. The chat room is a community by itself, and sometimes some of the comments that are made there should remain right there in the chat room. All right, let me see. Okay. All right, that's it as far as some of your comments are concerned. The majority of citizens don't know what AI means. I agree. So it's the responsibility of those in authority or education system, various stakeholders to address this, because it's already there, okay? And we cannot ignore AI. Whether you are exposed to technology or not, you will have to experience it. I mean, there was a particular period when people did not want to have those bank cards. You did not want to have a card for the ATM, okay? But it was basically forced upon you. You didn't have a choice. Banks closed during the COVID-19 period, and people were inconvenienced greatly. Those who did not have their ATM cards with them. Shopping online is made easy right now through your credit card, through the internet, through a computer. You also, for example, to renew your vehicle, your licenses, vehicle license, etc., you can do this online. So you will be left behind at some point in time if you are a Luddite, if you are someone who is opposed to resistant to new technologies or technological age. You will be left behind. And definitely there is need for us to ensure that we update ourselves, and deal with the reality of the situation that we are experiencing. That's an era of technology, so let us ensure that we utilize it. Okay, somebody's just received some information to disseminate. The Department of the Public Service regrets to inform that due to the passage of Tropical Storm Brett on Thursday, June 22nd, 2023, all activities which were scheduled for Friday, June 23rd, have been postponed until further notice. The Public Service Day Planning Committee wishes to sincerely thank all of our partners who were involved in supporting Public Service Day activities. Thank you, and may God bless St. Lucia. So once again, the Department of the Public Service regrets to inform that due to the passage of Tropical Storm Brett on Thursday, that's today, all activities which were scheduled for tomorrow have been postponed until further notice. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You on the air.
Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, sir. You see, online, the internet, it's a good technological development. But one of the pitfalls in that technology is when we all get online, as you say, to be left behind if you don't change, they could close you down. In places like China, Nigeria, where there's war, people fighting for their rights, they close down the internet and no one can communicate to come together to deal with the national protest. So that is where you are controlled. It's an electrical establishment that could break down and you have lost everything. So you have to revert back to the analog system as a backup. You have coals, you have gas, you have electricity to hot water kettle. You need to have other things. So when you talk about that online thing and new technology, blah, 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 that is the trap. When they close you down, you close down. That is control. A bunch of fish in a fish pot. That is the net. All right.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Somebody just shared some information with me suggesting that they're just digging the Bexon Ravine. They are just digging the Bexon Ravine. So I've asked for some photographs. If I get them, I'll be sharing those photographs with you during the course of our NewsSpin program. So the state, again, failing the people, doing things last minute. Those things should have been done over the last few weeks and months. And you have been calling NewsSpin to complain about the authorities not clearing the ravines, not clearing some of the island's main drains. And that is the responsibility of the Ministry of Infrastructure. According to someone, they're just digging the Bexon Ravine. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you. How are you?
Very much alive and well. Thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, there is a big tree that I don't think I saw it broke in the Union Road going up to Grenadier, almost the gap going to your home, and it's blocking almost 3/4 of the road, Tim.
That's in the vicinity of the Dimple at Louisy School.
Yes, past Dimple at Louisy going up towards Grand Riviere. That there's a big tree that broke in the road, and it is blocking 3/4 of the road going towards Grand Riviere.
And the personnel from the infrastructure ministry, they are not aware of this. They're not on the scene yet.
Well, I do not know because I just passed through Grand Riviere and I just saw it. And I realized in Corinth by Black and White, they are desilting the river at Corinth, and there is another place in Grand Riviere. I realized they have the machine also desilting. Just started. Have not done anything major yet, but they just started.
Wow. Okay. All right, caller. Thank you so much. We hope that the authorities heard you and they will be clearing that road where the tree fell. All right, we have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says, I'm a registered nurse and work as a nurse manager for a healthcare tech company where we use strictly AI to determine patients' risk for clinical change in the nursing homes. With just AI, we catch stuff like respiratory diseases like pneumonia and COPD, UTIs, heart failure, etc. We ultimately prevent rehospitalizations. They need to understand that AI is here to stay. So we need to mobilize and educate people. And yes, it will affect the workforce. Our young people need to get ahead and go do some programs like data engineering, Python, informatics, etc., to be one step ahead and start being employable when AI fully takes over. I think that is a solution in the diaspora. But the kids, they are not averse to being exposed to AI and getting the requisite training, but they cannot access it. Those people who are in authority, and I'm not talking specifically about politicians, I'm saying the people who are in authority, they don't have the foresight to implement those initiatives. So we backward. We see those things happening on television, and we believe that, it's foreign to us and it will not impact us. Very soon there will be regulations, there will be all kinds of conventions that we'll have to sign so that we have to conform, towards progress that is being made as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. So in the case of St. Lucia, we like to be forced to do certain things. We are not proactive. So all of a sudden now, we realize that we have to decriminalize the use of marijuana, eventually legalize it, and there's money to be made from it, even though you have, about 23 or 25 states in the U.S. where it has been decriminalized for recreational medicinal purposes, and we are just resting on our laurels, setting up commissions after commission. We mount fact-finding visits to a number of countries, including St. Vincent. We come back with the recommendations. We have to implement. We are just too slow. And we continue to depend on tourism. Our attitude towards research and development is something that we ignore. We're so lackadaisical when it comes to research and development. You have various initiatives that are being undertaken, exhibitions, science fairs taking place, where you have children coming up with all kind of inventions and making all kind of discoveries. And what happens to those things a year or 2 years later? We certainly need to change our mindset. And I think it will necessitate a new crop of individuals coming to the fore and leading in various areas. The education sector, in business, in commerce, in health, in manufacturing, in finance, in key areas we need. And the young people, I think they have to lead the way, But they are being stymied. Impediments are being put in their way. If you look at the composition of the various boards on the island, whether it's under this administration or previous administrations, a lot of people are being recycled, people are being brought back as consultants, and they are just taking the place of young and the space of young people who have the mindset, who have the tenacity, who are bold enough, to take certain risks and chances. In the meantime, just look around, see what is happening in our country as far as various endeavors are concerned. Our crime-fighting techniques, we still believe that police officers should be on patrol, although we do not have enough police officers and enough vehicles and motorbikes on motorcycles. We just believe that doing it the old way, the way that we have been doing it for so long, we should just continue in that vein and not utilize the technology. The broadcast will continue in just a moment. We'll be hearing from the president of the Police Welfare Association, Mr. Cameron Brown. It's all about allegations of sexual harassment within the workplace, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. You're listening to NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and our NewsSpin Facebook page.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliothèque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Lucilec kaveti ou pour point précaution diwan saison cyclone sa la. Mi an ti commission qui kaywen de ou protéger la vie ou ek propriétaire ou. Diwan mauvais temps, si la ni an chaise éclair ek loway, déplogue toute appliance et puis équipement qui ka servi courant électrique. Zéclair sa hausse quantité courant à sous système courant Lucilec. Appliance et équipement qui en service ek dommagé. Fait asiwe ou ni flashlight, radio qui ka servi batterie et l'autre batterie qui fouet à sous réserve pour si en cas la pe pani courant. Ça c'était en commission Rod Lucilec.
On July 8th, 2023, we're turning the Beauséjour Promenade into a one-stop shop for your new car. Car dealers, insurance experts, even mechanics, all under one roof, all ready to help you find your perfect ride. And only at First National Bank can you get vehicle loans as low as 4.75%. In honor of our 85th anniversary, the first 85 customers won't have to pay until August 2023. Join us at the Beauséjour Promenade on July 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and make it a hangout spot with music and eats and drinks on sale. Start your journey with First National Bank. First National Bank, here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu, to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland. That's when we reach the waterfront. Doing whatever the hell we want. Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Plastic Solutions,
catering to all your commercial and domestic plastic and paper bag needs. We also manufacture printed and non-printed plastic bags. Located on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway, Plastic Solutions is an environmentally friendly company because of its high standard plastic recycling process. For orders and inquiries, please call 758-451-5577 or visit us on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Chrissy, go on, babe. You will be late for your appointment.
Papa, the water to pressure, it running like oil.
Okay, let me fix that once and for all.
I go in by Europa, they have enough pumps there. Domestic and commercial, they have tough pumps there. Europa is the boss for water pumps in St. Lucia. Check them out for any pressure boosting system you may need for both domestic and commercial applications. Best of all, Europa has the best prices, top quality, and after-sales support like no other. The Leo brand of water pumps will solve all your water pressure needs. I go in by Europa, they have enough pumps there. Domestic and commercial, they have tough pumps there. Contact us today at telephone 452-0763. Pumps also available at courts.
The Police Welfare Association convened a press conference this morning. They addressed a range of issues, including allegations of sexual harassment within the ranks of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. We have a statement that was issued by the president of the PWA, Mr. Cameron Law.
The issue of sexual harassment. This issue is no new subject of conversation within the organization. At our November 9th AGM, the Prime Minister was lauded for his support of creating safe work environments, especially for female officers, where the culture of sexual misconduct is no longer an affliction. He articulated the need for sexual harassment policy, and a zero tolerance to approach to sexual harassment in any form, and as he in the past expressed, in any form, as he had in the past expressed to members of the Police Welfare Executive. When appraised of the issues the former executive had been dealing with, unlike the Immigration Department, sexual harassment was one of them. I was informed that a number of people, including civilians, had reached out to members of the executive as it related to sexual harassment in the workplace. After receiving this information, I, as president, would have understood the period of time which this situation persists. I took all necessary steps to ensure that these persons had indeed reached out to the Welfare Association and that persons in authority were aware of the allegations. When I satisfied myself that those persons had indeed reached out to the members of the executive, the previous executive that is, and that there were persons in authority who had been made aware through the Welfare Association of these allegations, I thought it was necessary at the time to pen a letter to the Commissioner of Police to look into this matter and to have an independent investigation, or at least to have those members who had reported to the welfare heard. Since then, I have had a conversation with the then Commissioner, Mistress Descat Pelius, who at the time indicated that she would be responding to my letter in writing. To date, we have not received a response as it pertains to the letter that was forwarded to the Commissioner of Police. It is not the responsibility of the Police Welfare Association, nor within its purview, to make pronouncements of guilt or innocence on any issue. It is, however, our mandate to ensure that fair hearings and afford members the audience to air their grievances and, where necessary, intervene on their behalf. There is an internal culture of victim shaming and blame which we wish to address. Every member of the organization is entitled to a safe workplace free of encumbrances. The result of this request has seen attacks of the worst kind leveled at members of the association internally and externally. This is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. At no point should it be accepted that people are run through the mud for simply requesting workplaces be safe or be made safe, investigations be pursued, and that the integrity of the organization be maintained. It is indeed a sad day for the democracy when the results of seeking to make representation for officers is met with allegations of attempts to undermine the government of our country or attempts to influence the outcome of the selection process for Commissioner of Police. Every commissioner during the executive's tenure, past and present, has been met with good faith and full support. Every member of the executive has a heart of service, and the most junior amongst us being 13 years of service. Let me now make it clear that we will continue to serve our members, even at personal expense. The attacks will not prevail. We continue to work assiduously to protect not only our members, but the integrity of the banner under which we serve.
Cameron Law is the president of the Police Welfare Association, speaking earlier today during a press conference addressing allegations of sexual harassment within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Well, as a result of what has been circulating on social media, remember a letter that was written to the Prime Minister and copied to the Home Affairs Minister and the Public Service Commission. This was seen as an attempt to destabilize the Philip J. Pierre administration. As a result of this, I came across a meme, a photograph of the president of the PWA, with his photograph with the words "wanted" written at the top. Below is Cameron Law, the name Cameron. In fact, giving the impression that he's wanted. Male, his age, his height, his weight. And on the page of SLAP, St. Lucians Aiming for Progress, written there, Cameron Law, the destabilization of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the destabilization of Philip J. Pierre's government is alive and well and being undermined at every angle. And this issue about allegations of sexual harassment within the ranks of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and the letter that was written to the PM, his Home Affairs Minister, and the Public Service Commission. This is an action that was taken several months ago, maybe a few years ago, dating back to Police Commissioner Moshiri and also Police Commissioner Milton Daisy and the recently retired Acting Police Commissioner Peleus. So this has prompted the PWA right now to convene this press conference and to call on the authorities to carry out some kind of investigation. I don't think there's a rush to judgment on this particular issue. It is just a case that the executive is saying that this has been in abeyance for too long, and you have a situation where at least 3 officers, I think it was initially 4 officers. One officer has not really pursued the matter, but 3, I think, female officers, they have been seeking representation from the PWA as far as this is concerned. So is it a case where this should be swept under the carpet, or give the authorities at least 3 more years or 4 more years to conduct an investigation? What the PWA is saying, they have not seen any effort on the part of the authorities to deal with this particular matter. And you're talking about law enforcement. In a situation like that, you'd expect that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, realizing that there is this allegation within its ranks, it needs to put this matter to rest. And who better to conduct an investigation into such incidents but officers of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force? Many of you would be very much familiar with what has been happening in the military in the United States over several years now, where such allegations of sexual harassment and even rape, those have been swept under the carpet. And you have had news agencies, CBS and 60 Minutes, conducting various investigations and then forcing the military, the U.S. military, to take serious action against the perpetrators of such acts. So we need to do the same thing in St. Lucia, ensure that the investigation is fair, it is as thorough as possible to determine whether anyone is guilty of such acts. So I don't think that is too much to ask. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. And let me see if I have any of your messages to go through right now as we're getting all set to conclude yet another edition of NewsSpin. Do you remember yesterday Joachim called and said all ravine and drains were cleared in the Bexor area? Then someone called after and said no drains were cleared. You see how them politicians taking people for a ride. All them guys need to go. And that is a message I just received. Continue to send me your messages and I will endeavor to read them on this afternoon's program. We just have about 8 more minutes left. Another person says, so Joachim misled the public yesterday? Question being asked. All right, let me turn my attention to what is happening in the chat room as we are awaiting some more of your calls on the program as you continue to prepare for this storm. And we can only hope that we will be spared, but whatever we can do between now and when it hits St. Lucia, starts to affect St. Lucia, it is important that we do just that in terms of our preparedness. I understand that there were so many people at the various supermarkets earlier on. It's already about 7 minutes before 2. I'm assuming, as was stated by the Prime Minister, that all our business establishments, government offices have been closed for nearly an hour now. Maybe you might have a few community shops that are opened and people might be able to access some of their items there. But the major supermarkets, major business establishments, they have all been closed. And that is the directive that was given by the Prime Minister in his address to the nation last evening. We have a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Timothy Poleon. How are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Good. Well, I just heard you said something earlier, and I want to clarify that.
Who is this? Oh, is that Mr. Mosherry?
Mr. Stephen Mosherry.
Former police commissioner. Mr. Mosherry, thank you so much for calling.
Okay, you said that there had been allegations of sexual harassment within the force, and the Police Welfare Association had written to past commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
During my time, I had no such allegations. There were no allegations, sexual allegations during my time. I never got any letter from the Police Welfare Association in that regard. Neither did I have cause to receive any complaints from any victim. These things came to my knowledge after I retired sometime in 2001. So it is not correct to say that any such thing happened during my tenure as Commissioner of Police.
Okay, thank you so much for the correction, sir. But how concerned are you, sir, that nothing has been done with regard to those allegations?
Well, I'm not sure that nothing has been done. I do not know that nothing has been done. What I understand from Mr. Law is that he had not heard from the commissioner. Not hearing from the commissioner does not necessarily mean that nothing has been done. So I do not want to comment on something that I do not know about now. But it's of concern to me. I mean, being a former commissioner, I think that is of concern to me, and I'm hoping that necessary action will be taken.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for calling.
You're most welcome.
And clarifying. Okay, thank you so much. Just heard there from former police commissioner, Mr. Moncheri. All right. Let's see if we have any of your messages in the chat room and, of course, your calls at 452-2979. We have sufficient time to take at least one or two more calls on the program. Let me see if I have any messages to go through at this point in time. Okay, I don't think we have any. Oh, somebody says there, where are the bus drivers? All bus stands park with people. I could just imagine the Grosley bus stand, the Vieux-Fort bus stand, and the other bus stands. Obviously, the national and the NCOPT have been aware that a storm is scheduled to hit St. Lucia later today, and also the directive was given by the Prime Minister for business establishments to close at 1 o'clock. So, therefore, every effort should have been made, measures should have been put in place to ensure that the persons will be in the capital and other parts of St. Lucia shopping. Those people or commuters would have been transported to the respective homes, transported to the various communities, because the thing is, why the Prime Minister decided that all businesses should close at 1 o'clock, government offices, etc., is to ensure that people reach their destination within a reasonable period. So you do not want people to be stranded on our streets at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening when the system would start to impact the country. We have a call. Final call. NewsSpin, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poleon. How are you?
I'm okay, sir. Good afternoon to you.
I just listened to the former commissioner calling into your program.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
Who is this? Is this Mr.
Only one thing.
Is that Mr. Cameron Law?
It is Mr. Cameron Law.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I would say only one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are certain people that I have, at this time, almost no respect for. I will only say that. And I would advise some people to refrain from calling and to refrain from making statements that they know is not true.
All right, so
that's all I'm going to say.
No, so let me ask you one question. Clarify. Yes. Are you saying that the Police Welfare Association wrote to the then police commissioner, Mr. Moncheri?
Oh no, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay, all right.
I'm not saying that at all.
Mm-hmm.
All
right. Thank you so much. Leads me to wonder, what does he mean by that? So we'll have to try to decipher it on our own. You just heard there from the president of the Police Welfare Association, Mr. Cameron Law. So something is definitely amiss, and I have no doubt we will continue to discuss this particular matter, and we'll continue to hear from the various players, those who are currently within the force and those who have retired from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. They clearly would have to come to the fore to answer some questions or to clarify certain things. We will take one final call at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says in the chat room, things are getting interesting. Yeah, things are getting interesting. And, all right, that will do it as far as your contributions in the chat room. That will do it as far as the comments I've received via WhatsApp. We hope again that the NCOPT, the minibus drivers, minibus sector in St. Lucia, will move with haste and act professionally and efficiently to get our commuters off the streets. People who want to head on home to prepare for that storm. They should not be stranded right now on the various bus stops, particularly Grosley and Vieux-Fort and Soufrière and other communities in St. Lucia. Let us ensure that the services that will be provided will be undertaken as smoothly as possible so that people can be at home with their family and to prepare for what it seems to be the eventual arrival of that storm later this evening. So to you, be safe. Let us do everything that is possible to mitigate the impact of that storm so that we'll be able to continue to exist in this country and continue to meet those other challenges that we will be facing, no doubt, and we'll be continuing to ensure that we prepare for the rest of the hurricane season because it has just started. The hurricane season will end officially on November the 30th. We hope the disaster preparedness committees, they are prepared, as well as the National Emergency Management Organization and other state agencies. I have some information to share coming from the Ministry of Infrastructure. The Department of Infrastructure, Ports and Transport wishes to inform the public of the following numbers for its command centers in the north and south. Command centers in the north, 519-0618. That's 519-0618. 724-9789, 724-9789, or 721-9392. Command centers in the north, as far as the Department of Infrastructure is concerned, the numbers 519-0618 or 724-9789, also 721-9392. Command centers in the south, 518-7504, that's 518-7504, and 720-9128, 720-9128. Command centers in the south, once again, 518-7504 and 720-9128. The public is advised to call the command centers after the passage of Tropical Storm Brett to report incidents of blocked roads, fallen trees, land slippage, etc. This notice coming from the Department of Infrastructure. Before I conclude, let me see if I have other notices to go through at this time. I don't think I do not have any more of those notices. So all that's left for me to do is to ensure is to wish you an enjoyable and a safe Thursday, and let us ensure that we do whatever that is possible so that we could minimize the impact of this weather system. And God willing, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon, 12:30, with another edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM, as well as on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook's page. Be safe. I'm just saying that we have our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day. Gang slaughtered 46 women at Honduran prison with machetes, guns, and flammable liquid, official says. Gang slaughtered 46 women at Honduran prison with machetes, guns, and flammable liquid, official says. That's our NewsSpin news of the day as we conclude our broadcast once again. Here's hoping that you have a safe one, and we'll be back, God willing, tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. Goodbye.